The Metzler Paradox, named after economist Lloyd Metzler, 1949, is a counterintuitive phenomenon in international trade where a country imposing an import tariff may actually see the domestic price of the imported good fall rather than rise. Intuitive explanation. The conventional wisdom is that a tariff, a tax on imports, should increase the price of the imported good in the domestic market, providing protection to domestic producers. The Metzler paradox occurs because a tariff, when imposed by a large importing country, one with monopoly power to influence world prices, triggers two effects. 1. Direct price increasing effect. The tariff itself adds a cost, directly tending to raise the domestic price by the amount of the tariff. 2. Indirect price reducing effect, terms of trade effect. By taxing imports, the importing country's demand for the foreign good falls significantly. For a large country, this reduction in demand leads to a sharp decrease in the world foreign price of the good. This is a massive improvement in the importing country's terms of trade. The paradox arises if the indirect price reducing effect on the foreign price is so strong that it outweighs the direct price increasing effect of the tariff. Result: the new lower world price plus the tariff is still less than the initial domestic price before the tariff. The domestic price of the imported good ultimately falls. Example scenario: imagine country A is a major importer of cars from country B. Initial state: cars from country B sell in country A for a price of $20,000. Tariff imposed: country A imposes a $2,000 tariff on each imported car. Conventional expectation: the price in country A should rise to $22,000. Paradoxical outcome: because country A is a massive market, the sudden tariff causes a huge drop in demand from country A. Country B's exporters, desperate to maintain sales, dramatically slash their export price to only $17,500. New domestic price in country A, world price, $17,500, plus tariff, $2,000, equals $19,500. The final price, $19,500, is lower than the initial price, $20,000, meaning the tariff failed to protect the domestic car industry and was entirely absorbed by the foreign exporter, with some extra price reduction passed to the consumers in country A. Interrelated facts and conditions. The Metzler paradox is highly theoretical and requires specific extreme conditions, making it unlikely in the real world. Condition for occurrence: highly inelastic foreign offer curve. The paradox critically depends on the exporting country's, country B's, willingness to reduce its price drastically when demand falls. This is formalized by the concept of the elasticity of the foreign offer curve, or equivalently the foreign elasticity of export supply. Necessary condition: the foreign export supply must be highly inelastic. In simple terms, country B's suppliers must be so rigid in their need to export a certain quantity that they are willing to absorb almost all the tariff by lowering their price. Inelastic supply intuition: if country B's export supply is inelastic, it means the quantity of exports they offer does not change much, even when the price they receive falls sharply. They have a strong non-negotiable need to sell the product, or they have few alternative markets for their product. The Stolper-Samuelson theorem and the paradox. The paradox also has significant implications for other trade theorems, notably the Stolper-Samuelson theorem, SST. Standard SST states that a tariff raises the domestic relative price of the import competing good, which in turn raises the real return to the factor of production used intensively in that industry, usually the scarce factor. Metzler's contradiction: if the Metzler paradox occurs, the domestic price of the importable good falls, then the conclusion of the SST is reversed. The scarce factor of production would be harmed, not helped by the tariff. This is why the Metzler paradox is sometimes referred to as the Stolper-Samuelson-Metzler theorem.